I think there was probably two ships going a little bit different that night. Boise's playing their best football. I don't want to take anything away from Boise. I had a chance to talk to Brian before it was actually Saturday morning, and he felt really good about where their football team was at. We had high hopes of coming in and having a chance to knock off a nationally recognized football team, and it did not go that way. And then things progressed during the course of the game to where they were out of hand, and that's a situation where I've personally not been in a long, long time. We sustained some pretty significant injuries, and we need to lick our wounds and get ourselves ready to play against New Mexico. So at this time, I'll open it up to some questions that we have on the phone line here, so fire away.
Coach Keith Kelly over in Cheyenne. I guess, first of all, Colby Kierkegaard, what's the latest with him? I saw on the depth chart where he's still listed at the top, but what's the latest with him having had a day to rest an ankle?
And I'm sure the media here, that's probably the #1 question out there as well. It will really be day by day. I was surprised. He came back Sunday, and it was the swelling was not as significant as what they had thought it would be. And Colby actually felt a little bit better during the course of the game. He couldn't bear any weight at all. And I did see the highlights of the play, and it looked like he almost broke his leg. So we'll see. We're in hopes that we can have him back later on in the week, but it will truly be a day by day situation with Colby. And one of the things that we have in benefit, or that's beneficial, is he's played a lot of football this year and taken a lot of snaps. And so if there's anybody that could probably be ready to play on a short week, it'd be Colby. But right now, Tommy will be our #2 guy, and we'll keep you abreast of the situation, and we'll let you know.
With one game to play in this one for the season, I guess you hear a lot of questions like stuff, things to play for, things like that.
Right.
What will be the motivating factor for you guys this week going into the New Mexico game? Obviously, you play football, you want to get out there and play football, but for you guys as coaches, do you feel like any special motivating factors to get the team up for this week, or not?
Well, it's another opportunity to get better and to secure a 5-win season, and that maybe some people on the outside doesn't sound like a big motivating factor. We think it is. I know our team had a really good lifting session this morning, which we're encouraged about. We'll have practice tonight. It's our hopes that our guys are really going to have a competitive nature, and if you're a competitor, you want to go out and you want to play the game to win.
And as far as New Mexico goes, they run the old option offense. They're another different offense for you guys to go up against. I guess could you just talk about a little bit what the problems with defending this offense is? They gave Boise a run for their money with the way they ran it. How do you go in and prepare for this type of an offense?
Well, it's very challenging. Bob DeBess is their offensive coordinator, and Bob and I have known each other for many years. He was on Jim Wacker's staff at Southwest Texas at the time, and went to TCU, and they were a split-back beer team, and that whole Mafia crew kind of ran out of North Dakota State, and I was a young assistant coach. So Coach DeBess has integrated elements of that, and then then he has a blocking tight end, and they do have the capability of throwing the ball deep, and so that poses a big challenge. And we'll need to be assignment conscious. They have moved the football against a lot of people. Now, the game against Colorado State, I think the game got out of hand so fast that they had to kind of change their type of offense because they were chasing points. But it poses a big challenge, and there's elements that are very similar to Air Force, but then there's elements that are somewhat different. And so, once again, they're well coached and they have a good plan.
Thanks, Coach.
You bet. Okay, I'll open up questions of members of the media that are here.
Coach, with one game left, I mean, how much is with whatever position that's out there, to get some of the younger guys out there, the ones that will be coming out back for next season?
We've not taken that approach this year. We felt it was important for us to give our seniors every opportunity that they had to end on a high note. Certainly some games have not gone how we would have liked them to have gone, but we'll continue with that same philosophy. I think it's important for us to put the best players on the field to give us our best chance to beat New Mexico.
Craig, will you give Tom most of unless Colby can come back and practice, will Tom get all the snaps in practice, or you split them with Sam, or how will you kind of approach that?
We'll split some reps with Sam, and they're a different type of quarterbacks. We were doing some different things during the course of the game, and so we're going to have kind of a plan A and a plan B. Plan A is to operate at the tail end, hoping that Colby comes back, and you'll see our offense that's very similar to what it has been. And then plan B is, between Tommy and Sam, integrate a game plan that is going to give us our best opportunity to win, because they are different.
Coach, obviously, Tom had played well in fall camp, but, probably hadn't seen him quite as much throughout the season with Colby getting more reps. Just how much faith do you have in him, if it comes to that, or him and Sam to be able to, compete and do what you need to do?
Well, Coach Vegan, we made some decisions during the course of the game on which quarterback we wanted. We felt like it was important to give Sam a couple plays in there to see how he could do, and he did some good things. He did some things that were a little bit counterproductive, but we did come up with a scoring drive out of that. But we inserted Colby back in the game, not Colby but Tom. So we're going to take a hard look during the course of the week of practice, who's practicing the best, and then make a decision from there.
Could we possibly see Craig again? I know it depends on practice. If both could play, if on Saturday maybe kind of rotate just to mix things up. Could we possibly see that?
Yeah, without question. And some of it's going to be contingent upon how those guys do. Sam had gotten very limited repetition. Matter of fact, several weeks he hadn't even been doing anything at quarterback, and so, he went out and did a couple things pretty well in the ballgame.
Coach, just obviously you don't know about Colby, but just if you could take a look back, starting 11 games this season and kind of the transitional period, just how would you kind of assess, his season and stepping in and sort of buying in and everything and being sort of that leader for this team?
I want to say Colby has done a great job making the most of what he's had. He didn't understand the West Coast offense. He certainly was not recruited with that in mind. And has he played great in every ball game? No. But he has competed in every ball game, and he's been an excellent team player, and has some games where he's played very well. And so he's really been a joy to coach, and hopefully we'll have a chance to coach him one more game.
Coach, going with these inexperienced quarterbacks, I know you're not going to give out your game plan, but does it?
No.
But does it change a lot? Do you have to kind of shrink it down a little bit, or do you feel good that with what you guys have installed throughout the season, that you can, have a pretty good diverse game plan for this game with these guys?
Well, it's going to be contingent upon who's out there playing. I think if Tommy's playing, we'll stay with a lot of the same things that we've done. If Sam's playing in the game, you're going to see a different. He's, stature. I don't know, he's 5 foot, maybe 10, and so to play him, ask him to do the same things that Colby was doing would not give us a great chance to win. And so you'll see a departure when Sam's in there. And so, but Tommy's operated our offense just in a backup role and hadn't had any meaningful reps. And he got in the game, and you saw that we did some things that were okay there.
Coach, did you get any sort of diagnosis about Robert Priester, about the severity of that injury?
Well, we're going to get an MRI today. I would say it would be doubtful to even greater than doubtful that he won't play. He's got quite a bit of swelling in there, which is usually not a good indication. We're in hopes that it's not a torn ACL, but there's a likelihood of that. We'll find out as the day goes along, but we did not list him in the 2 deep. And so I'm in hopes it's maybe a MCL sprain that's got some swelling in there, and he can bounce back without surgery. But if it's an ACL tear, obviously he'll have surgery. So, and that'll be disappointing, because he's really a good competitor, but as a young player, he needs a spring ball and go through winter conditioning and all those things. And so, but we'll deal with what we have, and as soon as we find out, I'll let you know.
Greg, I don't know if it's a beneficial. You said Coach DeBiss, in the way that, I know, again, 2011, that Sam Houston team you guys beat, so your staff has a familiarity of preparing for it. Does that does that help going into a week like this because it is so unique, or what are your thoughts on that?
It doesn't surprise me. You've done your research. You know, there's certain elements, but we have different players here than what we had at North Dakota State. And so there's certain parts of the game plan that we'll look at that game. I'm sure Bob has as well. And we did play well, particularly well on defense that game. But like I said, there's different guys that are out there, and they have different guys in New Mexico. I will say, though, I think New Mexico has done a great job of recruiting some guys in this system to operate that offense. I mean, they're putting up some pretty impressive numbers. And between Jordan, the quarterback, and Presley, and then the other running back, Gibson, I mean, those are guys that they can move the football. And so that's going to be a big challenge for us.
Any word on Sonny, Craig? I know we kind of ask that every week. Do you think, is it kind
Another
of the same?
guy. You know what, we taped him up. We could have inserted him in the game to say he played one last play as a senior here. And, you know, I didn't, the way he moved around in pregame and everything else, that would not have been the right move. You know, hopefully we'll have him back, but to say he's going to be starting this week would be a pretty big reach right now. I can tell you this, I cannot recall a year where there has been this many season-ending injuries, and it certainly has been trying, but we'll put a crew out there, get ourselves ready to go to play the Lobos. Okay?
All right. Thanks,